You know that feeling when you're trying to take better care of yourself and things are going well, then all of a sudden you fall off track, even though you know exactly what you should be doing. We've all been there. It's tough to stick to those positive routines like exercising, eating well, sleeping well, managing stress, all that stuff, even when we know how good it is for us. Today, we're going to share the human side of our own struggle. We're going to offer some practical insights for getting back on track when life gets overwhelming. So stick around. We'll try to spark your motivation to create healthy habits, even when life gets chaotic.
But first, this is the Fit Mess, where together we learn to develop habits that help us live beyond our mental health struggles to create happier, healthier lives.
He's Zach. He lives in the future with his anxiety.
He's Jeremy, and he lives in the past with his depression. And we get together once a week in the present to share the obstacles we face and how we overcome them.
What's going on with you this week?
I don't know, Jeremy. What is going on with you? No, actually, the last few weeks, I have been, I've had a lot of work stress. I've had a lot of, personal stress. Not like bad things or anything like that, but just like lots of it and just lots of things on my plate. And and in the middle of it, I squeezed in another trip to Disney World. I went for the weekend for May the 4th because I'm a Star Wars nerd. And the nerd, I'm going to just tell you what, like, I'm a big Star Wars nerd. I had nothing on the folk that were there.
Oh, I can imagine.
The nerd level was off the charts, and like I had goosebumps, and my daughter standing next to me like, what's the big deal? And I was like, just let me cry. Just let me cry.
I'm surrounded by my people.
Fantastic. It was so good. I needed like that stress relief, and so good. But like since I've been doing really good at the gym. Like April, I think I went back and calculated, like I made it to the gym like 65% of the week. So counting all the days in the month, I made it 65%. So that includes rest days and all kinds of good stuff.
That's a big jump up from the 0 that you had going there for a while.
Oh yeah, no, I had more in April than I did January, February, March.
Nice, well done.
So I've gotten back, and it was a little painful, and then everything. But in the last week now, like I had a bunch of things at work, and like just being in a new relationship. No, it's not new anymore, but a relationship.
Yeah.
And the time commitment there, and my daughter, and like all the things of life. And like, I usually can get a lot of things done and it doesn't bother me.
Right.
But the last 2 weeks, man, it is like, it's a lot.
Brought you down to earth here with us mortals.
Yeah. I don't know. It is weird because in the past, like I was able to fill my day with more things than I guess the average person could do. Mm-hmm. And now
why is that? That's weird. How were you able to pull that off?
I don't know. It's just exceeded the plate.
Was it all that I only have me to worry about most of the time that allowed you to be so productive?
It's possible. It is totally possible. But getting up early in the morning is tough for me still. Like I'm having trouble with that. I haven't been sleeping as well. So definitely a week of reflection for me in all the things that we do and why we do them and all that. And I feel like I've come on for the last 4 months, been like, hey, we do a podcast and we know all the stuff that we need to do to be healthy. And for the last 3 months, I haven't been doing it, and I can't figure out why. And it's, like that joke of like, why can't I lose weight? Are you exercising? Are you eating good?
Are you sleeping, eating well, exercising? No, none of it.
No? Oh, and I wonder why you're not losing. I wonder why my anxiety's high. Right. Yeah. My depression's fine. That's all good. Like anxiety is just off the charts. Like, and for anyone who has heard older episodes, like my anxiety, I have like physical manifestations of anxiety in my body. Like I get inflamed and my nerves start to fire, and like I'll get like twitchy, and like you can tell when my anxiety's firing really, really hard. And man, it's been going. Like I've got one of my fingers have been twitching lately, and like, things hurt that don't hurt normally just because it's just there. So it's been a really great week of, we say it all the time. Like we would always get upset when we have these, these periods in our lives where we like revert back to things that we thought we'd, outgrown or gotten away from. Yeah. When and you get pissed off. You're like, I gotta get back
here
up.
It goes again. I thought I had this beat. Yeah.
I gotta do the thing. And I've just been telling myself the whole time, it's like, hey, look, here is just another data point as to why you do all the things that you do. This is a good thing. This is a positive thing for you to experience this and reinforce and know that you've got a baseline of things that you have to do to stay happy and healthy. And you're going to have an even longer period next time before you come down to this again. It'll happen again, but this is a good thing. So I'm really trying to, see the good in every situation or something like that.
How's that working out for you?
It's okay. Like,
yeah,
it's not bad. Like it definitely doesn't, knowing that I can fix it and that I know what to do and that these are the things that are going to make it better, and it's going to be slow and it's going to be, a little bit of a battle for me. And I'm already moving in the right direction, right? I'm moving my body. I'm definitely eating better. I was definitely eating a lot of ice cream for a little while, just to, a little stress eating.
Yeah, that's good medicine right there.
Woe is me medicine, I think. But yeah, I'm just taking this opportunity to really try and soak it in and be like, you know what, this is why we do the things that we do. And why you got to be consistent. You can't go to the gym once and expect to be strong. You got to go every day. You got to meditate every day. You got to practice your breathing every day. All these things that we preach, and I'm human too, right? I guess for a long time, you held me up on a pedestal and thought I was some sort of god. Probably not.
You certainly seemed like you were up there, like kind of, wanting to be acknowledged on the pedestal.
I didn't want to be acknowledged, but I was in such a good, flow, I guess, for so long that I was like, well, I'll never have a moment like that again.
Yeah.
And then, so I kind of was on a pedestal in that standpoint in my own mind, and I got knocked down hard, and I'm just like, oh, I got to crawl back up now. And like, we're all human. We all fall over. So don't beat yourself up when this shit happens.
Yeah. It's so easy when things are going well and everything's awesome, and you've got your system dialed in, to sit there, because people will tend to start asking like, oh, you seem like you're doing great. What's going on? And I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I do this and then this thing. And then I go and run it, run these 13 miles. And it just seems so simple, because when you build it up, it becomes so simple and it's just a part of what you do every day. But that's not the reality for most of us. For most of us, it is. It's the kids, it's the job, it's the 9 to 5, the commute, all of the things that get in the way. And then we wonder, God, why don't I have any time for self-care? And it's like, because you've built this house of cards that's, paying the bills, but that's about where it's ending, right? So you're super stressed out, you're exhausted, you don't know what to do. I feel like I'm kind of, getting a taste of where you were, because for 6 months, I haven't been depressed. Like, I think maybe collectively, like 2 hours of the last 6 months, where it was every 3 weeks, I'd be out for a weekend or, multiple days. And it is because of all of the little things that I do every single day. And I'm able to do more and more because I'm building a life that caters to that allows that to be the case. Not everyone has that luxury. Not everyone can just decide like, oh, this is when I'm going to go sit in the sauna for 20 minutes. Oh, this is when I'm going to go get in the cold plunge. Oh, this is when I'm going to go run on a mountain. Like, I have the freedom to do that because of the life that I've built. But most people don't have that luxury. And that's where I think we get kind of stuck and really struggle to make that time for ourselves.
Yep. And I'm not going to say that like I have introduced things into my life that are, holding me back from doing that. I still have the time to do it. I've also been making the wrong choices over the last few months too, and like prioritizing things that I could get done later or shouldn't do in the first place. So, it's just, I was sick, not thinking right. I've got like all kinds of reasons or whatever there is, like, but now it's time to bounce back. Right. And that's the important part, is like, you will have setbacks. You're going to have these moments where things go haywire, but that's your moment to really kind of dial it in a little bit better and like, okay, where can I find the time? Where can I have a little bit of me time? To your point, you built the life that you have so you can do these things. Like, but that didn't take you 6 months. I mean, this is something you've been working on.
So far, it took 47 years.
Exactly.
So,
Well, you've actually been putting effort into introducing all these things into your lifestyle over the last, 4 or 5 years, maybe?
I mean, especially with everything we did to relocate and everything. Yeah, it's been, we're coming up on 3 years since we moved, and add all of the wellness journey, that stuff that started, a decade before that. But with all this stuff, this is the thing with all this stuff. I was just talking to another podcaster about this the other day. None of the stuff that we do here, that we talk about, that like builds this life that we're so happy and proud of, none of it's rocket science. None of it's real hard, right? It's get enough sleep. Don't eat like complete garbage all the time. Move a little bit. Like doing these little things every single day eventually accumulates, and you find that, oh, wow, I feel great and things are going better for me. But it's so hard to make that time for yourself, and it's hard to know what the priority is. And there's especially if you're like me and you spend way too much time doom scrolling, all of the advice you're bombarded with is like, how do I optimize? What's the best thing? Which supplement is the perfect one? And how much sleep? And how much do I need to lift? And how often? Fucking just do something, right?
Yeah.
Like start anywhere. Get curious about how can I can I get to bed 20 minutes earlier tonight? Can I sleep in 10 minutes later tomorrow? Can I add a glass of water to my routine? Like whatever, just little crap. It is remarkable how much it builds up, and for me anyways, it's been like building communities played a big part, like just having like-minded people to help push you toward whatever the thing is that you're trying to accomplish. If you're stuck with the same people that, you use the term holding you back, that's a part of it. I think there are people that can hold us back, but if you are on this journey with somebody, if you are alone, right? Like you're the man in the arena, you're doing this thing by yourself, you can make your time a little more. You can devote the time you want to the things you want to devote it to. But when there is suddenly a partner, a wife, a husband, whatever, kids, you have to make those choices of what gets my time. Can this thing wait? And a lot of times, at least for me, I think for a lot of guys, we tend to put our stuff later. Like, let's take care of everybody else first. And I just know that surrounding myself with people that are pushing towards something better, pushing towards healthier, has been huge. And I know I'm going to butcher this quote. Probably not even going to be able to finish it, but I remember my therapist talking about, like, if you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to go somewhere that matters, like, go with people. It's something like that, where, like, yeah, you can go farther, faster alone. But if you want people to be on the journey with you, it's going to take a little longer, because there are just more variables to account for in your day and your life to make sure that everyone's needs are met, not just yours.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit on something there that like really like struck me too, is like, if you know you need to do something and like you're doom scrolling. I added up the other day the number and cost of the things that I was convinced I needed for my bed.
Oh man.
So I'm sure everyone's seen, like, I'm getting bombarded with like the grounding sheets for your bed.
Oh yeah.
The my girlfriend runs cold and I run warm. So I'm like, well, here's a thing for the bed. You can put it on, and like you can keep one side warm and the other side cold. I think I added up like all of these different products for like just for the bed was something like $12,000 worth of stuff. And every single one of them, I found myself sitting there, oh, that'll solve with the world hunger. That'll solve that'll solve all my issues. Yeah. If I'm just grounded, go for a fucking walk.
Right?
Right? Like, when all of this stuff is hitting you, like, what's the most basic, simple thing that you can go do? Like, literally, go for a walk, and at some point during that walk, take your shoes off.
Yeah.
Or, there you go. You just got the benefit.
That's level 2. Just go for the walk. When you're ready to level up, take your shoes off for a minute.
Exactly. So I forget that. Like, you know me, right? It's, whatever's the coolest, latest,
yep,
data-centric, whatever. Like, I'm
whatever
like,
can optimize so that nothing's left on the table.
I'm all in. I've got my Apple Watch tracking me on my left wrist, and I've got a Whoop band on my right wrist. And my the bed that I do have actually does track all of my sleep, and I've got a ring that I wear as well. So when I'm sleeping, I have 4 things tracking all of my stuff. So, like, I get super complicated. I get, like, to that.
Yeah.
But just go for a fucking walk. Like, even take it a step back further. Like, go walk out on the front porch and just breathe fresh air.
Right.
Like, when you're getting all that stuff, and I get it too, and like you're sitting there and you're like, I want to be better, and I don't know where to start. like, it is simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Go outside, take a deep breath, and walk around the block.
There's a great quote from Ryan Holiday. I think he says something like, taking a walk won't solve all of life's problems, but it certainly won't hurt.
No, it definitely doesn't hurt. And honestly, I have found that all of these big things that I want to do that I'm scared of, or I don't know if it's going to work, or it's, ambitious, too ambitious, right? Once I start small, like, it makes me a little bit more comfortable to do that. Like, if I can go successfully do a walk around the block, then I'll come back and be like, I probably could have run that. Mm-hmm. And then you run it and you're like, well, I guess I could, ride 10 times around on my bike and do that. Like, it all builds on each other. So if you just start at that bottom step, like, you'll take another step. But have you ever seen that picture where it's two ladders and it's, one guy standing at the left one and the rungs of the ladder are like 100 feet apart. Mm-hmm. And then the one to the right of it, like, the rungs are like inches apart.
Right.
Right. And you see tons and tons of people climbing the other one, and the guy's just standing at the bottom of the other one. Mm. That's what I'm picturing right now, is like, you can't try and jump.
Right.
You can't outfit your bed as a Tesla. Right. Just go for a walk.
That's coming next year. But I will say, yes, totally agree with you. But also, I also think you're capable of more than you think you are. Maybe not you, because you think you're capable of quite a bit. But for most people listening, right, I think they're capable of more than they think they are. And again, using myself as an example, I started trail running like a month ago. And, the guy that was inviting me, like, I was picturing, we'll walk for a few weeks and then we'll add a few minutes of a jog here and there. No, like the first run we ran, and the next run we ran a little further, like literally the next run. Mm-hmm. And had I gone out there by myself and said, hey, I think I'm going to start this trail running thing, this will be really fun, that's the approach I would have taken. I would have walked for a month and then, incorporated a little bit of a jog toward the end. Like, I would have gone super slow. But because, I have somebody in my community, in my circle going, oh, no, we can do this. Let's go. And if it's hard, we'll stop. No big deal. But it pushed me out of that comfort zone, pushed me out, beyond the limits that I thought I had, to discover that I don't have them, and in fact can go much farther than I thought I could. So, mm-hmm. Yes, take the small steps, but like, if you're not the kind of person to push yourself beyond your comfort zone, find someone who will, but can do it gently so that you can discover that you're actually capable of a lot more than you think you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I see this all the time at the gym with myself, like just in like, weightlifting or something like that. And a coach will just come by, and my favorite story ever was one of the coaches at the gym. We were doing something and I grabbed a pair of dumbbells and I was like, I think that's good. And we had to do whatever it was, like 8 times. And like, you do it and then you take a rest, and you do it and you take a rest. And like, I did it once. And the look the coach gave me, she was like, had that like shit-eating grin on her face, and she was shaking her head. And I finished it, and she walked over with dumbbells that were like twice as heavy and put them on the ground. And she's like, you're going to use these.
Nice.
And I was like, oh. So definitely surrounding yourself with people who are going to push you is, yeah, sometimes I avoid that. Sometimes I just want to go for the walk.
Yeah, and there's a place for that. It's plenty of times when I go into the gym and whatever the robot tells me, if I can do that today, cool. But there's like 2 days ago, when I was in last, everything that was on my list, I was like, I can do more than that, and just pushed like 5 or 10 heavier and was able to do it. And I was like, see, sometimes like you just need a little shove. You need to just try. Can I do a little more than this? Mm-hmm. But, tell me that 7 months ago. 7 months ago, I didn't want to go out the door, right? Like, depressed, miserable, felt like everything was at the end.
I was gonna make a comment that, like, when you sent me the picture and said, I'm a trail runner now, like, I very genuinely laughed in like a positive way for you.
Right.
Because 7 months ago, I was like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
And now
It
you're
was
like,
not in a good place.
now you're like, cold plunging every day, trail running, because again, going back to it, you're doing all the things, you're doing all the little things, and it builds, and you got to be consistent. So, hey, if no one has told you, I am proud of you and seeing, a transformation in you going from, again, I mean, you weren't bottom of the barrel, you were close. I'm just kidding.
No, I was terrified. I was scared out of my mind.
You've made such a transformation, just like, again, doing all the things that we talk about on the show. So you are literally living proof that what we talk about works, and you can change your whole life with very small efforts consistently. Period. Yeah. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Man, if only we could sell that.
We should think about that.
We should think about that. I think we've been thinking about it long enough, but it's the doing it part that keeps getting in the way.
Well, in the 6 years of doing the show, Jeremy, I think that's probably one of the first times I've ever said I'm proud of you and actually meant it.
Yeah, I think we both had our moments of being completely full of shit, but I'll take that one. Thank you. But yeah, I think that's enough of us for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you've gotten any value out of this conversation and you think somebody else may as well, please hit that share button so they can hear it as well, and help us reach more people that just need a push in the right direction to live a slightly happier life. You can do that today at thefitmess.com, and that's where we'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Thanks for listening.
See you, everyone.
We know this podcast is amazing, and it doesn't seem to lack anything, but we need a legal disclaimer. Prior to implementing anything discussed in this podcast, it is your responsibility to conduct your own research and consult your physician. You should assume that Jeremy and Zach don't know what they're talking about, and they're not liable for any physical or emotional issues that occur directly or indirectly from listening to this podcast.